and this platform is called StreamYard. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
Not
I actually
cool. I
I
didn't
like
know.
it.
Yeah.
I created my own. I created my own overlays for it and all that good stuff. So, um, all right. So here's the thing about it. You know, we've all seen it. You know, the issue that we have with recruiting platforms is that they're all very subjective, right? So you got, you know, somebody's going to come in and say, okay, well, this person's one, this is person's two, three, and usually the understanding of even how you get to be one, how you get to be two, and or if you're 50, how do you get to 30? You know, if you're not on the list, how do you get on? And how do you include more people in it in the evaluation process? So what I came up with is um, a recruiting platform that uses three different types of evaluation. One of them is subjective. The other one is objective, which is, and it uses a rubric.
Okay.
So the what a rubric now allows, it makes it so that you know, the criteria is very clear. So you know, Keith Vassal helped me come up with it. So there's a rubric, and if you remember university, you know what? If you got 400 kids in your class, because you know, using a rubric, everybody's going to get ranked, because
Yeah.
either you're going to end up in the 90th percentile, 70th percentile, and it's going to be very clear that like you lost. If it's an essay, well, you lost marks on spelling. You know, on spelling you got 9 out of 10 on that rubric, part of the rubric. On grammar you got 6 out of 10, and then now your average is based on, but at least you can see where you got lost marks and where you need to improve.
Right.
So picture that concept with, you know, with a recruiting platform. So I'm just going to share my screen right now real quick. Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's called the Elite One basketball system. The website's there. I am an Elite One. To create a profile is free. So the typical, like, you know, like to sign up is all your typical stuff where you sign up as a pro athlete, student athlete, or a coach. When you go to sign up, you know, you put in all your typical, you know, height, weight, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Once you've created an account and you log in, I'm gonna take you to the you know, my profile. So if you go in here now, you'll see across the top, you know, players. That's where you can view all the other players. This is where you view your profile. This is where, you know, you can message. So like it has live chat. So
Okay.
that means the you know, the consult, we call them consultants, the guys that, you know, people that do the evaluation. They can directly communicate with the athletes on here with a
Okay.
live chat, a blog, frequently asked question. But I'm just going to go to a profile real quick first. And so when you go to your profile, hey, who's that ugly
Ooh,
guy?
that page?
Yeah, yeah, he doesn't know he's my demo photo. But when you go on here now, what happens now is one of the evaluations that you can do is online. So here's where you're going to upload your best videos, and you notice there's a percentile ranking here. But
Okay.
I'm just going to go down the thing, and then I'll come back up the top. Here's where you upload your best videos. So you use a YouTube link, and you can put in your two best videos. When you put in your YouTube video, what happens is right beside you see this little thing, looks like a camera right here.
Yeah.
When you click on it, what happens now is this opens up, and it's a video upload checklist. And so what happens is, like, so if, you know, if I played, you know, whoever I played, you know, Toronto, and then I'll put in the game date, and then all these here is a list of skills, you know, ball handling, shooting.
Yeah.
These are things that we're saying that we're gonna, you know, as an evaluator, somebody evaluating, we want to see these things, you know, in the game. And so what the athlete does is, with their video, is they can timestamp it. So they just click in here and say, okay, at the and when you go to a YouTube video,
Mhm.
like, so if you take a YouTube video, right, you can just literally just right click on the YouTube video,
Yeah.
right? If I take a YouTube, and then you can timestamp it.
Okay.
So, right, it's really easy. So if I want to if I right click and I say, okay, copy video URL from current time, I just click on that,
Okay.
and then I go back to here, and I'll put in that timestamp, and then I can also write in the time. So that was at the 15-second mark,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
Then I apply, and so then what happens now is when the evaluator gets it, I'll be able to look and say, okay, open court transition ball control. And I just literally just click there, and it'll open up, and it'll take me right to that point
Wow.
on the clip. So now for kids, and when you think about kids, they don't know how to make tapes. They just keep on putting up mixtapes and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this will guide them to be able to put up better highlights, or at least to know if they're putting up good highlights. Because if they can't check off anything here,
Yeah.
then they, other than some spot up threes and some dunks or what, then they know they'll know they're not putting out the best video possible. And even emotional.
So I have a quick question. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah, sure.
You know how
Yeah,
you
please,
put at the top the team name. So if they put a mixtape in and it's a bunch of games in one, what would they put as a opponent?
Yeah, so we discourage that.
That's what a lot of people do. They don't have a lot of good one games. They put a bunch of games in one mixtape.
Yeah.
And we're trying to change that, and we're trying to show kids where that really is not helping them, because I mean you all might know this too, but I talk to coaches all the time, and it's like there's one coach I talked to, he said in one day he gets 3,000 emails.
Damn.
So if you get an email with the mixtapes and all you see is kids hitting threes, wide open threes, getting wide open dunk, you really can't tell the difference between one kid or the other after 10 mixtapes. It's like it all looks the same.
Yeah.
So we're trying to show kids is like, you know what, this now will help them, create better tapes and at least see it. So let me go back. So that's one of the features of it. So you put in your videos up there. Everything else here is pretty much the same down here, but up top, I'll come back to up top. I'll say that. So here now is where you can put your game, just catalog more games. So right here now, when you click on this, now a kid could just catalog his game, put in his stats, and upload a video, and just keep as many game tapes as he wants on here.
Wow.
Right. So he can put that in there. Then now here's the feedback part. So the direct feedback happens here. So let's say all four of us are evaluating this kid.
Okay.
In the back end, when I'll show you that afterwards, here's where we can all put our feedback. So we all watch the video and we say, okay, all right, great work, good game. We can put feedback in there. Down here is where their peers, so their peers can comment. Coaches don't see it, but now they can comment on somebody else's profile. And it's rare, kids rarely ever get an opportunity to be able to give each other feedback. They'll do it on their Instagram posts and stuff like that, but they can comment on each other's profile, and they can delete it if they need to. So now here's the major evaluation. Here's the objective one. So here, if you can look at this one really closely, it says basketball IQ, position-specific skills, game performance, athleticism, strength of competition, and emotional IQ and leadership. In here for the players, there's a little description of each. But basically, here's your rubric. So let's say all four of us evaluate this, and using this rubric that was created right here. So I created the rubric with, a 10 is proficient, 9 in all these different areas. So using the rubric, if you say, okay, if Ash, if you say that he's a 9, I say he's a 7, everybody else says he's a 6 or 5. It'll take the average. It takes the average of what all four of us give that person. And that's where that 70 comes from.
Okay.
And the same thing for position-specific skills. So now whether it's one person or 5 of us or 10 of us that evaluates them, it takes the average of what we give them here. So now they get the subjective evaluation, but they get the objective one here. And that's what creates the percentile ranking up here. So they'll get a percentage ranking for each category, strength of competition, athleticism, right, from all of us. but then it takes the whole average and it puts it up here. And that's the percentile ranking. And then for a coach recruiting, you can have 50 kids in the 70th percentile, but you don't need a kid that gets a lot of buckets. Maybe you just want a kid with a high basketball IQ,
right.
and good emotional leadership.
Yeah.
So it's the same. So they're in the same percentile, but a coach now can be more specific about what it is he's looking for. And then the other thing too, so that's the rubric. The other thing too now is you can now select your evaluator. So let's say all 5 of us are evaluators on this. The drop down menu would show the list of evaluators, and you may say, and based on experience. And so, so I can speak for to you guys that play professionally. I haven't. So maybe somebody, they want to be evaluated by somebody who's played professionally. So they'll select the evaluator that they want, the type of evaluator, right? So it gives them that freedom. The other thing now is, I know it's a lot. I'm gonna stop in a minute. So the other thing now is they can also now request an on-site evaluation. And so let's say Ashton, in your area of the city, you're the only one that's an evaluator on this platform.
Yeah.
And a kid wants to be evaluated. That means you're the only person in that area that kid can call on for an on-site evaluation.
Right.
And that gives you that kind of leverage now where, because kids rarely ever get a chance to, they don't always get a chance to have somebody evaluate them on site.
Okay. Yeah.
So now what they do is they just fill this out. They can put the date of their game or practice or location and request that you come in and, videotape their game, and give them an on-site evaluation or videotape their workout. That's a premium service.
Yeah.
Right. But now
they would have to pay for that service.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question too.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't talk pricing yet. So the pricing is so they can create a free profile by coming on here. So if you come on here, I'm going to the players now, right?
Okay.
So we have about 80 athletes signed up, but it's just a demo. I just hit up my guy in Spain and my guy in Jamaica, and I'm like, man, just give me some feedback, get your kids up on this. So if they haven't been evaluated, they won't have a blue 1 on here. So this kid doesn't have a blue 1, but he can create a free account. He can put videos up and he can create a free account, but he won't get a percent. He won't get a ranking because there's no evaluation. So if a coach is checking this out, then the coach won't know, can see all his information. But if he wants an actual evaluation now, then he's got to request it, and that's $50.
Okay.
And then once he, and then for $50, one of us, will look at his profile, what he puts online.
Yeah.
And provide him with an evaluation. And if two people do it, then 2 people, the money's split. It's it's only $50, but but it's split. But it's meant to be affordable. But they can get evaluated as many times as they want.
Okay.
But that evaluation is only good for 2 months, and then they go back to being unranked.
Right.
But that $50. If they want an on-site evaluation, it's $199.
Okay.
And now you're going to come out there, you're going to come to their game, you're going to videotape their game, you're going to give them feedback, you're going to evaluate them. And I mean, I'm in Arizona. I mean, I have people who pay me $200, no problem, for me to come show up at a game, videotape it, and evaluate their kid. It's not, it all depends on your market.
Right.
So that's your player. So I'll just show you last 2 things. Is one, so the messaging. Like if it just works like that, it has to be initiated on our end. So when a kid signs up, we reach out to them and then we have, live chat with them. We have blogs there, frequent asked questions, but I'm just going to show you the back end real quick. And then I'm going to stop and let you ask me whatever questions. So on the back end of it, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do an evaluation, because I know it sounds really complicated, right? But once you go in, once you sign in, once I sign in as an evaluator, I'm using my director's account,
Okay.
but you pretty much you'll see the same. You'll see that pretty much the same thing. Yeah, quick change in it. Actually, I'll use this consultant account. So say you're consultant. So right now, if you three were consultants, when you come in, you'd see the number of athletes signed up. You'd see the number of scouts. So when you go to the athlete list, you can split it by gender. You can go, I want to see all the boys that are signed up, and say that same guy, Joe Jones, right here, right? For example, if we now go to, you can see all of Joe Jones's information that he's submitted, right? So I can see all the videos that were put up here, and remember that checklist here.
Yeah.
So I can click on it, and I can see all his clips, right? So all his clips, you know, all his clips popped up. I can watch his video. Then now, if I want to score him, right? I just go into here where it says feedback. So I'm gonna write, hey, you know, work harder.
Yeah.
Let me work harder. Work harder. The reason he doesn't see, this athlete doesn't see, this is for any other consultant, right? But then now, if I want to change, you know, like now, if I want to change this, I say, okay, well, if his basketball IQ's improved, I'm going to, you know, IQ, and then I hit give feedback. So I just changed Joe Jones stuff. If I want, back here I can add an athlete if I want. So we don't have to, kids don't have to sign up. So let's say we want to sign up all the kids in our club. We could sign them up ourselves and evaluate them. But if I go back to this profile with Joe Jones, if you notice, his percentile just jumped.
Okay, got you.
So it's automatic. So that's it. There's no calculator, no nothing. I just go back there. I watched his videos. He sent me some new videos. He's improved, and you know, his percentile just jumped. So I'm gonna stop right there and just any feedback, any questions, if you could just.
I like it, man. I like it a lot, actually. Yeah, though, like even for pros, as a pro, I think this would be like really good for guys that are trying to get, you know what I mean, get out there, get scouted, get their film out there. I mean,
so what is even as like high school, pro, college? Because you like those men's league guys, they're looking for their ranking too. That's another market to tap into.
it really is.
I wasn't ask that. I was gonna ask, is it for just high school or was it for all levels? That's what I was gonna ask.
No, you know what? Honestly, it's all levels. You know, because I mean, I work with I like women's semi-pro, right?
Yeah.
And it's worse in the women's side of it. You know, like they're spending money to go to these tours and go to these combines, and you know what? They walk into the gym and it's somebody got a live stream video up saying they got scouts in Europe watching. And they spend all that money to go.
Right.
So I watch the women on my team sometimes spend thousands of dollars to try and get scouted. So I was like, you know what? So I thought about them as well too, like, you know, but I had a couple agents hit me up and say, hey, you know, could I use this platform? Because you got the same issue. You got agents that really don't know how to hoop and they're lazy.
Yeah, for real. No, for real.
So real estate.
Yeah, so they're not really hoopers on that level, and they're lazy. So to evaluate players and really do that, so now they can outsource it.
Right.
Oh, I had an agent. He said, you know, what would you do? You know, would you use this and do my evaluations? And then I just signed on with Jamaica Basketball. And one of the things they liked about this is that they're going after the young kids. They want to identify kids before they turn the age of 16.
Yeah.
That around the world to get their passports so they can pick them up later. They can get them in their pro. So you know, so it has a lot of. I'm starting to find out it has some other uses as well too, but definitely can work for different levels.
So what about like, okay, let's say the kids that are, let's say the North Pro Hoops kids that are number 1, 2, and 3. Can we just take their stuff and like put them on there to try and evaluate them based on
100%.
based on
100%.
okay, yeah.
Because let's say, because right here where it says add an athlete, we
Yeah.
just, as long as we have the basic information about them, their name, their, you know, all that basic information, we can create a profile, because essentially that's what they do. They don't walk around asking permission to put them kids up.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
They
saying.
just do it.
'Cause
So
they might be number 1 in North Pole Hoop, but based on our criteria, they might not be. So I think that would be a good idea if we could do that and get those guys and really evaluate them based on the rubric.
exactly, and using and a bunch of us doing it.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if you do it, if we do it, and you get you know, a guy like Vassal to do it, and I do it, and we, you know, like, and now you're talking about, because it's going to take the average, right?
Right.
So it's not like, you know, you're just saying that they're only in the 90th percentile or 95th or 8th, you know, like, no, it's based on the average of what all of us see. So now it's different, you know, like we're approaching it different than North Pole Hoops, because they're walking in the gym and saying he's number 1, and we're saying, well, no, 5 of us watched this kid, and you know, this is the average of what we saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Is there a part of the page that says Sorry, go. You can go. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, is there a part of the page where you do rank them like 1 through, I don't know, 50 or top 100 or whatever?
Yeah, we can, but I just said that we could do that separately. So like you know, like, let's say you guys have you guys could just produce your own number ranking, you know, separately, because you may have 20 people in the 90th percentile.
Yeah.
So you separately, you know, might say, okay, we're going to produce a number ranking to go along with it. But you know, because I think having this as an option is really good, because it allows even the worst kid to to be able to create a profile and be evaluated. Yeah. And a lot of times these kids, they just want a shot. They just want to get that feedback. They just want to know that somebody can give them some feedback. Exactly. So we can still do a separate number ranking, and like periodically, like, you know, like you produce a quarterly number ranking that goes along with it.
Yeah, I think just based on the culture right now, I think the kids are into that. They want to know what they know when, like, I'm 25 or I'm 20 or whatever. So I think if we do that quarterly, we all make our own separate lists, and then we just average it out kind of the same way, kind of try and compare lists and see, okay, there's consensus, this kid's number 1, this kid's number 2. I think that would be.
Well, I think that'd be great. I think if 5 of us, you know, are doing this evaluation, and then we produce 5 separate lists, and you know, and we got the Otley list, we got the Dawkins list. I mean, it's not a bad thing, you know, like, you know, if you got 3, 4, 5 different lists.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it'll just go to show that a subjective evaluation is exactly that. It's subjective. You know, like, and you're entitled to see what you see and give a kid a number 1. And that's why I don't really knock North Pole Hoops, because at the end of the day, it's a subjective evaluation, you know, and they're giving their best subjective evaluation, and that's, you know, and that's life. But that's one of the things that make a subjective evaluation not as credible, you know, by themselves, you know. So I think us producing both means that we're giving the subjective evaluation, but we're also providing the objective one as well too, because the objective one also has more of the specific criteria where they need to improve or where they're getting their score.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just a ranking; it's also helping them improve. It's also giving them how they
Exactly. So if a kid gets his stuff back, and he's only got like a 40% in position specific skills, right? Mm-hmm. He can go back to his trainer and his coach and be like, man, I'm only got a 40% in position specific skills. You know, I need to improve this. you know, or down here where it says they you know, they only got a 50% in strength of competition. And then we're saying, okay, well, you need to go play against some better guys, play against some better teams, and come back and upload those videos. Because if you just send us games against bums, then that's going to hurt your ranking.
Yeah.
So we can help kids develop and bump their score up, and as their score moves up, now we can help them become more marketable.
Right.
And so we can help them in that way.
Another idea I just had was, what if like we have a link to something where you can, I don't know, let's say a separate entity based on this, where you can, I need to work on my position specific skills. Is there a trainer that you can like refer me to in the area or whatever?
Right.
And
that's perfect. And because one of the things is why I'm hitting up trainers like you guys is because I'm not trying to be you guys. I'm done. You know, like I don't got it. You know, and but I like to be able to facilitate. So down here, when they request the on-site evaluation, there's a checkbox to see if they need any additional support. And then what we can also do is produce a list of recommended trainers in the area. Okay. Or we can just, you know, if it's one of our evaluators, and then it's automatic, like, okay, you know, one of our evaluators will take care of you. And I think it'll create leverage for, like, that will create leverage for whoever it is that's directly connected to this, because I'm not saying it's a right or wrong, but if you look with North Pole Hoops, is because they control the platform, you know, they now control where the kids go.
Right.
You know, and if we control a platform, then we can also control and direct, you know where they go, you know, for support. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it could be like for SAT. Maybe we got our people that do SAT prep, and you know, and we're gonna, you know, so it doesn't necessarily have to be just skill development. So where you guys are concerned, I just want to show you one more thing. The other problem, remember I told you, I think Ashton, I was telling you about the problem with skill development is, like, in the space of evaluations and evaluating and assessment it applies to not only recruiting and recruiting services, but it applies to skill training as well too. Those spaces are really not there really isn't any quality controls in those spaces.
Right.
Anybody in the mom can get up today and say, I'm a skill trainer.
Yeah.
Like there's no quality control, and on top of it, they can charge whatever they want to charge.
For real.
There's no quality control. There's no saying, okay, well, I'm Anthony Otley, I've had this type of experience, so therefore anybody train with me, they got to pay $150 an hour. You know, and so, but what is that criteria? So because there's no financial metrics that go along with it either. So what I did then was, and I started in my gym down here, is I created my own, certification, because I said, I don't want to be lumped in with everybody else. I've been doing this for over 20 some years. You know, I want to be able to show some sort of separation, you know, and just because I can't cross over anymore, like, and you know, I can't dunk anymore, I don't want my value to decrease.
Right.
So the areas that I focused on was liability, you know. So part of my certification was, you know, I said, okay, I'm going to make sure I have a background check, first aid, CPR, and even I have CPI, crisis prevention intervention training. So when you think about it, just those things alone separate me from everybody else, because a lot of guys are in gyms with 12, 13, 14-year-old kids. Yeah. And if something happens, you got no insurance, you got no liability, you have no, first aid or CPR training. Yeah. You know, like, and not that something's happening every day, but we just don't hear about it, you know? Yeah. And so just being able to put that out there. So the other thing now I did was focus on, I developed this course. And so I'm going to invite you guys to evaluate, check out this course. I've had about 70 people take it and give me feedback. But this course I created it's an assessment and evaluation course. And I'm just going to take you in the back end. So the idea behind assessment and evaluation is I'm not, as a teacher, like, I'm not a good teacher because I know a lot. Like I'm just saying the mindset of a teacher. Like being a good teacher is not because I know a lot. Being a good teacher is because being a good teacher is because I'm good at assessing and evaluating. So this course is called Evaluation and Assessment for Basketball Development. I'm just trying to see where I can open up. So I'll send it to you. I have to go in my back end to do it, to open it up. But picture assessment and evaluation like this. When you first start training a kid, what are the benchmarks that you're looking for? What are the things that you're looking for that are going to determine whether that kid has improved in a month or in 2 months?
Yeah.
And what is the evaluation criteria that you're using to determine, is this kid ready to receive certain type of skill training?
True.
And because 99% of trainers are great trainers because they can deliver a skill. So, like because they can deliver a step back, deliver a fadeaway jump shot, they teach it.
Yeah.
But what is that criteria that you're using to determine if that kid is ready to receive that skill?
Trust me, we talk about this all the time. There's kids that are like 10 years old that can't even. Their form is terrible. They can't even get the ball to the rim properly. And these guys are teaching them step backs and side steps and stuff. It's like he's not ready for that yet. You're just gonna mechanics, and he's just gonna be,
exactly. Me. And so what you're talking about is assessment and evaluation, right?
Yeah.
And assessment and evaluation. So I'll give you an example of me training. As soon as I get a kid that wants to train with me, the first thing I do is the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to watch their movements. I'm going to evaluate their movements. So that's the very first thing I'm going to do. And I'm going to look for do their knees collapse? Do they if they do their knees collapse? Their posture, core,
when they're running all the time, are they on their toes?
Running form, their lateral, are they on their balls, their feet? So the very first assessment I'm going to give is based on their movement.
Got you.
Their movement quality. Their movement quality is going to tell me whether I can load them or not.
Yeah.
And where they're at, and whether I just got to clean up. And then after that is I take measures, basic measures for hand quickness. So like say you're doing a figure 8 dribble between the legs, well, in 30 seconds, if a kid, I'm going to time how many can that kid do in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
If they can only do 15, we know that's less than 1 per second.
True.
And the high end of it, we know that as the high end of human ability, we know that he should be upwards around almost 3 a second or 2.5 per second. So he should be at around 60 or 70. He's at 15.
Yeah.
So by taking that evaluation now when we train and we work out and we do all this drill stuff, then I'm going to test him again in a month. And guess what? I test him on my figure 8s and all the movement stuff. And guess what? Now he can do 45 in 30 seconds.
So would you create like a criteria, like you said, like how many figure 8s you're supposed to be able to do in 30 seconds, like a benchmark list or something like that?
Exactly. And this is crazy because since West Hill, I've been doing this.
I know.
So I can tell you how many fingertips around one leg in 30 seconds is average and what is above average.
Right.
So we can assess fingertip quickness, we can assess hand quickness, ball speed, and think about it, even measuring how fast they can go from the floor to a knee height dribble in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now that they should be above average is 120 reps.
Wow. Okay. See, you have that information over time. Like I wouldn't know like how many, you know what I mean? Like how many figure eights he's supposed to be able to do in 30 seconds or anything like that. So
how many flips in 30 seconds? How many, like you name it, I have these benchmarks because that's all I did, you know, and then I also have the
So I have
physical
a
side of it
question.
as well too. Sorry, go ahead.
Would there be an age-based criteria? Because obviously, like somebody who's 16 wouldn't be doing it the same as somebody who's 11.
No, and
I
you know
don't know,
what?
like in my
And,
opinion.
and you know
Because
what?
you know what I mean. Like you're saying, the average of is this like
Yeah, so the average, the benchmark doesn't change because we're not basing it on age. We're basing it on physics, on the fact that, think about it, like as a human being, how many repetitions can you do in a split in 1 second? So let's say we're measuring the number of narrow crossovers they can do between their ankles. It doesn't
okay.
matter. It doesn't matter their age. As a matter of fact, it helps because if an 8-year-old is at 120 reps
yeah,
in 30 seconds, we know that kid is now at the elite end of that particular skill movement, because we're basing it on just human science, human physics. That there's, as a human being, there's a limit to the number of movements and repetitions that you can accomplish in 1 second. It doesn't matter who you are. If you
yeah,
put Kyrie and Irving in the gym, or if you put an 8-year-old in the gym, like even Kyrie Irving would represent the highest end of it, but
yeah,
he's representing the highest end of the human spectrum, not of his age grouping.
true,
Just as a
Got
but
you.
you can get a 12-year-old that's right behind him, and a 30-year-old that's not even close.
true.
You know. So with these benchmarks
Mhm.
now these benchmarks and these assessments is now what sets up the training, because now once you do these benchmarks and you do these testing and assessment now, then what happens now is, now you know, okay, well, this kid is at 30 on his figure eights because he had 10 errors. It's the problem is skill, or this person is at 15 because they're slow, but they
Mhm.
made no errors. So you know, you can tell now, is it a skill problem or is it an athleticism problem? You know, like you can separate what the problem is based on these assessments. And so, I mean, I don't want to get too deep in it because I'm really passionate about this stuff. But but you see how now using assessments and evaluation
Yeah,
creates it separates you, because it creates a way of training that provides direct feedback, as you know, as to where a kid is and where you can take them.
yeah, nah, for sure. And it gives you actual tangible like stats. It's not just an eye test or anything. It's like you only did 50.
Yeah. Then when you talk to the parents, you can say something too.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Especially with the
And
parents, they think, you know, their kid is the best thing since sliced bread, so they get defensive when you bring it to them. But if you can bring them actual numbers, actual stats, it's like, what can you say? This is the benchmark. This is where your kid is. It is what it
yes,
is.
Numbers never
and
lie.
Yeah,
the numbers and the times, and you time everything. So even for me, I track how many lateral pushes it takes them to cover the distance of from sideline to sideline. So if I'm working on a kid and I'm trying to improve their explosiveness, lateral explosiveness, well, if it takes them, when I first start training them, if it takes them 10 lateral pushes to get to the other side, and by the time I'm finished they can get it done in 8, then
yeah,
I did my job.
true.
So I'm bringing this up
Mhm.
from a trainings perspective, because I don't want somebody to base my dollars on whether a kid drops 20 and gets a scholarship.
Yeah,
I want to be judged based on the fact that I took numbers and metrics and I moved them.
yeah,
What, how much playing time that coach gives them, and how that kid responds mentally, emotionally in a game situation and misses layups. Even though I track all that kind of stuff, is not my problem as a trainer.
yeah,
My thing as a trainer is, you brought me a kid that could do 15 of these in 30 seconds. He could do, it took from, 17 seconds to do this. It took him, 5 repetitions to do that. And when I was finished with him, he was at 45 in 30 seconds. He was at, 18 reps. I did my job. Pay me my money. Yeah. I did. And And because parents are from the world of education, they know this. The whole world of education is assessments and evaluations. So what we're doing is we're giving it to them in a way that they get it. So I'm not saying it takes away from the creative. Like, you're still going to teach kids step backs. You're still going to do all that kind of stuff. But what we want to do is we want to become a breed of trainers that separate ourselves from everybody else. And we can't separate ourselves from everybody else by coming up with the next great step back to teach a 12-year-old. You know, like, we got to separate ourselves using tangible things that other people are not willing to do, like certifications, like, you know, safety certification stuff, like having benchmarks and metrics. Working collaboratively, like, you know, like, so think about it, if all of us use the same pool of benchmarks, then we know that when we're working with a kid, that we can say, okay, well, you know, in Otley's gym, you know, he's got kids that are up at this rep level, you know, and you have benchmarks that are standardized. So Otley's going to use the same 30-second increments as I'm going to use, as you're going to use. And so now we can compare where our kids are, how our kids are developing in each other's gyms, and, you know, and what strategies that we're using that are working, that are improving these things.
I like it.
So, okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and then I can go back to it. But the reason why you know, that Ashton, that's really important, is because, remember, I wanted to talk to you about you know, for me, I'm not really hands on the ground anymore, like, you know, like trainer, but the part that I've become very good at is the other side of it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm looking for that type of synergy where somebody else is still very actively hands on, and I can get involved with them on the back end of it.
For sure.
You know, with things like this, like what I just showed. So I'm going to stop. Any feedback, any thoughts, any questions, anything you want to see again?
I really like what I see, because it's not just about, like you said, ranking guys into a system. It's about building basketball and building the athlete and giving feedback. And it's interesting that you're talking about how a lot of trainers throw their kids in there and just do a bunch of step backs and complicated drills. Because there's a few times I had some younger kids and I'm training them, and I noticed, like, even simple drills they couldn't do just because they couldn't bend their knees low enough, things like that. So all these things you're telling us here is really good, and I'm very interested in learning some more. And then also, you were talking about, like, liability and protecting yourself and things like that, and doing the admin stuff, like that stuff too. I was talking about that the other day. So all these things that you're bringing up right now, it's kind of funny how I've been talking about it, and now you're bringing it to life. So,
well, I appreciate that. It's hey, is it Neron or Neron? How do you say your name properly?
Neron. Yeah.
Yeah. And any thoughts from you? Like, I just, you know, want to. I mean, this is probably the first time. So go ahead.
This is what's needed, especially in the culture that's in Toronto basketball right now, because it's just a bunch of, like you said, people just going out there and creating their own thing. Like, I'm not knocking their hustle, but there's no, like you said, there's no evaluation. There's no criteria at all. It's just coming to the gym, and it's like a free for all. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
the parents get sucked up into, like, the hype and everything. So it's gonna take some time to change the culture to make it what it is, but it's on the right track for sure.
Well, I appreciate it, because I'm not somebody, I don't want to knock anybody that look like me and you. And I'm going to tell you that straight. I don't care whether it's SETI or whether it's this or that or Tyndale. You know what? More power to them. They're brothers out there. They're making their money. You know, I look at myself as a guy who's been in the game for a long time. It's my responsibility just to raise the bar and set a standard. And if they want to follow that standard, it's up to them. You know, but you know, so, you know, I'm basically, what I'm saying to you is, like, change the culture, you know, and this is what I feel is something that will help change the culture. And the other thing too is just because I've been living in Phoenix for like 8 years, like the thing I've been able to see, because I told you I'm with Jamaica basketball now. It's the same all over the world. I hit up my dude in Spain and in Istanbul. It's like it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's everybody's following the same bad culture of basketball. So we have an opportunity to be global leaders.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere where it's doing it, because anywhere where we're dominated, the brothers are dominated, we're grabbing we're going for the bag. We want that money, and that's what our focus is. And so we're just we're imitating all the bad habits. We're imitating the same thing. You see a dude making $100 a session, a kid, and then you say, okay, I can do that too. So the culture is bad everywhere. But when you think about this platform is not a Toronto platform.
No.
Like it's not just Toronto. Like the kids that are signed up on here are right now, just because I just hit up some different people that I know, we got Jamaica. We got Jamaica on there. I'm not saying these guys have the money, but we got Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Montego Bay, because the money's going to come, so let's talk business where you guys are concerned. So we've got New Jersey, Oshawa, Gilbert. Well, that's down here. But I mean, the kids are signing up from anywhere, because where they're concerned, if I'm a kid in Spain, for example, this kid, because he's in Spain right here, right?
Yeah.
He's getting ready to spend money to come all the way to America to be evaluated against his peers or American peers.
Yeah.
So his family's got to bring him all the way over here for him to be ranked, or be evaluated against peers. Now he doesn't have to risk COVID in crazy America.
Yeah.
He can sit in Spain, get us all his video, and we can rank him and compare him to Elijah Fisher.
Yeah.
Because we can throw Elijah Fisher up here, and now he can compare. He can see, okay, well, this is the difference between me and Elijah Fisher using the same rubric criteria. So what I'm going to say to you guys is this is the ask. There's 3 asks that I was like, for anybody like I trust and that's close to me. Like I said, one is you can just use the platform and use it and say, hey, you got 10 kids that you're training, just use it as an evaluation platform.
Sure.
I said, as long as I get $10 back for the platform, just to go back to paying off the platform, because I didn't really do it as this cash grab. I literally created it just to help my kids. So there wasn't really this world domination plan that I had. So if you said, hey, Doc, I like it, but I'm just going to use it. I like to use it just to help some of my kids. Yeah. On the other level is, let's say you want to run events, and this now gives us a recruiting option where now you can run your event and use this as the recruiting platform. And now if you got 100 kids, you can guarantee every kid is going to get ranked. Every kid is going to get, at the very least, that you're going to produce your number ranking, but every kid is going to get a chance to be evaluated. And that's a lot.
That's what I was talking to you about yesterday, Doc. How me and Rome, we wanted to do the underdog camp or whatever. I'm like, this is the perfect. Get these kids to get them to sign up on here, upload their film, whatever. Then at the end of the summer or whatever, we have a camp. Invite all the kids to come to the camp, and we could just do a live session and then compete against each other.
Yeah, and you don't even have to do all the evaluations yourself, because now, like, you just videotape the camp, and you got people like myself that are, and sure. I got nothing better to do, as long as we, I can help you with the evaluation. So so the evaluations can be done by knowledgeable people. Like, you can say, hey, look, I got Wayne Dawkins in Phoenix. Yeah. He's gonna be in on the evaluation. Or I got so and so. I got Coach Keith Vassell you know, like who's coached at every level. You know, he's going to be like, so it lends credibility to your event. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a recruiting event. So like in September, you know, I mean, you'll see it, Ashton, because you'll be working with us. Is you know, I'm doing a league again. You know, I did a prep league years ago. I'm going to do it again. You know, but the same idea, like, you know, people do everything thinking they got to chase the high hanging fruit. It's got to be elite. You know how many kids want a league to play in, you know, but they can't get into the OSBA and they can't get into. So imagine we're going to run a league, and we're going to use this as the evaluation platform for it. And every kid in the league is going to be on here, and you know, and then we just evaluate it. So it could be a one-off event, or it could be a league, and so that league is going to be at that All-In Center.
Yeah.
So we got that set up. So that's something, if you want to get in on that with me, that's wide open, and that's you know, I did the budget for that already. That's an easy money maker.
Yeah.
Easy money maker, because then you can do all the add-ons. Because the thing about it is, once you got a pool of kids that are getting ranked and evaluated, they're going to want to improve.
Yep.
And right away, you know, if you're the one that's controlling this platform and their evaluation, then more than likely they're going to start with you if they don't already have. So that would be the other thing. So the one thing is just use it yourself for the kids that you're training, and or two, you know, use it for events, different events that we could either you do them yourself, or I can help you run some events. And the last thing would be to be involved in it as an evaluator, as somebody who wants to maybe, you know, use it more on a global level, like what I'm thinking of doing. Like, so jump in on that level. And, you know, because, you know, like my guy in Spain, he goes, I got 1,000 kids in this club. Jeez. I had to tell the man, yo, I can't do that. I can't. In good, with all good conscience, I can't take your money like that. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to evaluate 1,000 kids.
For real.
But so there's a business side of it where if you guys wanted to sort of jump in on it on that level, you know, we could go after the globe to get.
I'm all in. You sold me.
I'm all. Honestly,
all the things that me and Ron, like, we've been the same type of thing, but we haven't been able to like cultivate and put in something like you have right here. So this is like,
you know, to be honest, like every time we try to start something, and one thing I've seen is like, I don't even want to call them haters, but it's just a crab in the bucket mentality, because everybody wants it too, right? So if they see you doing something, it's just pulling you down to pull themselves up. That's just what it is. So it's kind of, it is a little difficult, but you do need a team behind you. It's like,
you do. I mean, the thing in the Black community is where it's kind of messed up, because nobody gets ahead without having resources and seed money, and there's just not enough resources and seed money in the Black community. So we're, you know, like, so we're all scraping for whatever little is available for us to use to build. Because when you really think about it, everybody's just trying to build, and you know, and so you're trying to get enough seed money. Like in the white business community, they got seed money like crazy. They you know, they got 20, 50, 100,000, $250,000 that they can invest in a project. Like if I was in the white community with this, somebody would have put couple $100,000 behind me, and this thing would be massive. You'd see it on, you know, sponsors and commercials, and it would be blown out the frame. But because I don't have that kind of access, I need guys like you to say, hey, you know what, cut me in, and let's do this together.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how else am I going to get it done?
I won't even lie. Like, if you ask Ash, like, some of the older guys in the basketball community, they're looking at the younger guys to come in, and then once you come in, you give them your ideas and you put forth the effort, and then it's like they just push you to the wayside again.
Yeah.
So I've gone through that whole process where like I invested my time in like this program or this program, and then it's like, you know, once again, it's like, yo, you could feel yourself being used. So it's kind of rough in that sense too.
Well, I've been there, and as you can tell, I can't even tell you the amount of stuff that people have stolen from me, have come in, and You know, like you got to think about. I ran that all Canada Classic for 12 years, and
Yeah.
I can't. And I'm telling you right now that the same people that are running that BioSteel game are the exact same ones. I was literally begging to come in and help me, and I showed my cards. I showed I showed my weakness, and it
Yeah.
was gone. You
And
know,
they just
same
took
thing with
you.
and I got bodied and bullied, like, you know, the last 6 years, you know, like I think after the first 2 3 years of that event, I got bullied by everybody, you know, like legit. Mike George was threatening me, like, hey, you know, no kid, I'm not gonna bring this kid, that kid can't. I literally lost control at that event by
You know what?
2000.
I won't
I was
even lie.
done.
Like the way you put the event on versus what's going on now, it's more of a show now. Like but when I seen the event when I was younger, it looked better. It was ran better. It was just more like homely in a sense. Now
Yeah, it was,
it's
and it was
way too
getting
much.
bad. It was getting bad too. Like, you know, the thing about some things like that is, unless you have the right people involved, you lose control of it, and it was hard for me to explain to people that, you know, because they saw me and they thought I was in control, but I had lost control of that event
Yeah.
because, you know, because everybody was threatening me, like, you know, like if this kid doesn't play, you know, Nike wanted this kid and this name and this kid. It just got a mess. I'll be honest, like there's a part of basketball I don't want to get back involved in
Yeah.
again. Like
Mhm.
I just don't have the energy for it. It sucked the life out of me. But this side of it, I do love. I'm just letting you know. And as far as doing business, what happens with us as black men is, you know, the other reason why we get ourselves in problems is because we don't do business properly.
Mhm.
We don't sign agreements. You know, we've been on this thing for almost an hour. If I'm not recording this, over half of, you know, of what we talked about is going to be lost.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
you know, so what I learned about being an entrepreneur is that, you know what, the ethics is, you know, is what's in paper. So
Mhm.
if we're gonna, so I created an agreement, and, you know, and I'd send to you guys, and, you know, that we negotiate the terms of the agreement. If you guys like it, you know, and you know, you don't like it, then you negotiate and say, hey, I don't like the terms, change this, change that. We agree, we sign off, and that's what we live by.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't live by the bridge and shake. Yeah, that, you know, I've known you from time. You know me. You remember the barbecues. No, it's like it's like here's what we're agreeing to on paper,
Yeah.
and here's
Yeah.
what we're going to sign off on. So if you guys want to say, hey, you know, I want to be a part of this, then we'd finish that deal on paper,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then we sign off on it. And that's the mistake that's the mistake I made every single time coming up. I didn't put agreements in place. I didn't protect my back. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know if I ever told you the All Canada Classic. You know, one of the other reasons why I couldn't bring it back is because I didn't own the trademark anymore.
Damn.
I wasn't thinking business wise, and this guy went and trademarked the name Phase One All Canada Classic.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't I didn't own the event anymore. It was last year. I spent $1,500. I just finally got back in the control of the name,
Wow.
and that was a year ago. I spent $1,500, and then when I tried to bring the event back, Rowan Barrett hit me up and said, you know, would you bring the event back for RJ and all? And
Yeah.
we went and booked a Hershey Center, and this guy sent a cease and desist letter, threatened to sue,
Who?
had to shut. The same guy that because he owned the trade he owned the trademark for the
Wow.
name, and so they just dropped it. So
Wow.
you see what I'm saying? Is like I learned the hard way about business, and I don't really talk about what happened with different things along the way, but I've just said, you know what, I'm just going to use that kind of stuff and to be smarter, and also I just wouldn't do it to other brothers. I
Yeah.
would not I would not do what was done to me to you guys, because it took me years to recover emotionally, mentally, financially from the things that were lost and taken from me. Like that All Canada Classic, losing that thing and the way I did was like that. I invested years of my life,
Yeah.
you know, in that thing and lost it.
Damn.
And you know, because of guys. But that's a whole other story. So what I'm saying is that I wouldn't do that to you guys. I'm telling you guys how you make sure you go into projects like this and don't get burnt is what we agreed to on paper.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah,
put
for
it
sure.
on.
Have to
Let's
do
put
it.
it on paper and sign it off.
Yeah, man.
You know.
I guess I have one more question. Like, so I know you want to do the evaluating thing across the globe, but what else are you trying to? What else are you trying to do with this whole platform?
Honestly, I'm open because this is not my main project. You know, I think I was telling Ashton that, you know, like I really don't even make my money in basketball. You know, like I make my money on in curriculum development and stuff like that. And I work with an educational consulting company, and it's got me pretty busy. So a project like this for me was more of like, I take on things in basketball more as like just a hobby. I see a problem and I try to create something that would be a solution, you know, and so the short answer to your question is like, I don't have the bigger vision for it. I just knew that there was a problem, and this platform could potentially help solve the problem. But but as I started introducing it to people, I started realizing like, well, there's countries that have this problem. you know, there's national bodies, because now I'm working with Jamaica because of this platform.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm working with the Jamaica national team program. You know, like and working. You know, like so. I can see it. There's probably a lot more potential it has. And this guy from Montreal, you know, Juan Mendez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Juan hit me up the other day, and he said, you know, because he's one of the people I showed it to. He goes, why? He asked me if I would sell it. He said that he just got a job as a player evaluation, doing player evaluation, and with some company, and he said that he asked me if I would be willing to sell it, and I was like, I don't. He goes, I don't think you know how big this is. He goes,
for real.
He goes, think about it, you know, and then I'll get back to you. But
don't sell it yet.
Well, when you think about it, like if you think about it from like a Facebook social media standpoint, like those things are funnels. All you want is something that's a huge enough funnel, because the dollars that can be made. Why I said if you lowball it, like there's dollars that can be made on the other side of it. Exactly. The analytics, the sponsorship. There's other side of it. You can even the coaches. I didn't even talk about the money you can make off of coaches and stuff like that. So there's a whole business side of it. Other business side to it that has to deal with that. That follows more that model of like that Facebook type model where you can have 1,000 kids, like overnight. We could have 1,000 kids. We could have 10,000 kids on here, because there's there's not enough competition in this space.
Exactly.
Because when I was getting the NCAA, you got to get your stuff sanctioned by the NCAA and all that, and I called to get my get the NCAA stuff.
Yeah.
And the NCAA was one who said there's not enough. He said, Wayne, this is great that you're doing this. He goes, there's not enough services like this.
Yeah.
And the same thing with scouts. So there's a shortage of services like this. So you have the potential, like I said, like that guy in Spain who said, I got 1,000 kids in my club. That's in Spain. that's just in one city in one country.
Wow.
You could pull 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
But I understand business. I can't overpromise and underdeliver. I can't sit up there and have 1,000 kids on here, and I need a way to service 1,000 kids. Either it's self-serving, where they just create their own platform, their account, do their thing, or we have enough people that can like do the evaluation. So let's say we say the evaluations are done quarterly and not on demand. So so if you don't have your profile updated by a certain date, then forget it. So there's got to be a way of controlling a larger demand, as it comes. But that still involves having a team, that wants to tackle this thing.
Yeah, man. Let me know.
Honestly, I respect the fact that you said put it on paper first, because most of the time it's help until but I respect that part. Put it on paper.
Okay. Well, I'll send you a draft of the agreement that I put together initially, and then what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite you guys to take a look at the course.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for the course. The course is free, but and then I'm working on 2 more courses right now, and Ashton, that's the one I wanted you to help me with is the next course, because the next course is going to be will speak specifically to the benchmarks, exactly what you said.
Right.
Like, well, what are the benchmarks for evaluation and assessment for ball handling?
Okay.
What are the benchmarks for evaluation assessment for passing? Right.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other course, and you got to think about it. Like as we become experts and leaders in this area, like it really becomes a game changer. When how everything works together. Like a platform like this and a school at the same time.
Yeah, the
so
school.
that's
the
my
school,
thoughts.
School is a big thing too, man. The school having that and the all-in center, that's locking those in is key. It's huge, I think.
Yeah, and we got the all-in center for the league, so we got some things happening, man. Yeah. That's why, like I said, we got, and it's just, and it's me 5,000 miles away. Right. Like Vass is my boy, but he's he's got his own stuff going on as well too.
Right.
So I'm looking for legit, like partners, like people who want to get in on a certain level. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. My other question: Are you looking for like a buy-in, like for investment? Like, you said you want people to come in. Is that what you're looking for as well?
No, I mean the nice thing about it is this platform is already. It's like I'm not paying for upkeep. Like, yeah, I got to pay for hosting, but like I said, I was gonna build it. I was gonna do the platform anyways. So for me, the platform was an investment where investors will come in and money will come in is because right now it's web based, and it's and to put it on iOS and put it on Android,
yeah,
there's a cost.
Yeah.
So no, I'm only saying that because you're looking at us to come in and help, but like your intellectual properties that you have, like you just built this. I don't know who helped you or how you came about it, but that in itself is invaluable to some degree.
Yeah, so and that's where
you're looking for us to like invest in it monetarily as well as with our ideas as well.
I'm open. I think that's what I'm trying to say is that that I because this web-based version is already built, and I'm more concerned about having people help me take it to another level. The investment to expand it and grow it is something that now at the right time, I just personally haven't decided for myself yet until where it's going to go from here. And I think that's probably why it's hard for me to answer your question, is because I didn't really expect to be at this point. And I know there's going to be investment needed to get it into an app and get it off of web-based. And so there's going to be money that's going to be needed. And I think that with the right group of people, I would love to, that's a conversation where I'd like to sit down and talk about that.
Yeah.
Because if we start using this thing and we agree that we got something special and we got invest to take it to another level, then I'll probably say, okay, well, who wants to put some skin in? Yeah. And then we can negotiate. But right now, there isn't a need for you to do that. Like the platform doesn't need an injection of funds at this point. It just needs people who are willing to understand it, use it, help get it out there, Hey
man, send me the agreement, send me the stuff. Let me know what the next steps are, because I'm ready. I think you got something. I think you got something here, Doc. So I'm ready to help whoever.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why I'm asking. I don't want to hear the come from down. He's like, yeah, this is the buy-in. I'm like, oh, I don't have it.
No.
That's why I'm just trying to figure out like where you want to go, because this idea is like completely different.
Yeah, it's different, and I think we can make money together. One of the things I've never chased money. I've never chased money. And my history shows it. I tell people all the time, if I really was about the money, like I'm in America because I went where I was wanted. I got burnt really bad in Toronto, and for me, I just like somebody invited me to be down here, and I was welcomed. And I was welcomed, and that's the big thing for me. Like, but if I was chasing the money, I would have been an NBA agent. I would have been an NCAA coach. Like, there's a lot of stuff I could have done if I was really chasing the money, because I was ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
I was leading the race. I could have jumped on some of the things that some of the other people jumped on, but wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not my thing. And even now, one of the first things I said to you, I didn't even build this thinking that I'm going to build an empire off of it. I literally was like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of my kids coming back to me and telling me they got burnt at another recruiting event, and all this kind of stuff. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to build this for my kids. So I think my problem is I don't look at these things as I probably could look at things more monetarily, but I just never had a need to. Like I know we're gonna make money, and I know if I got the right people, we're gonna make a lot of money. So I don't even I don't need to chase, try and get that out of you now. I mean, if you buy in and you're serious, we're gonna make a lot of money together, and it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be all right.
When I'm thinking about it, because I coach in high school too, and it's like a lot of I coach in the public board, so there's a lot of kids that are trying to get out, and it's like they don't have an outlet, and this is another tool for them to use. And I don't know if you're gonna add an academic piece in there, like when we like to show their grades, because some kids don't realize they can't qualify to go D2, even if they're talented enough, they don't even understand they can't qualify just based on the grades they have or the classes they're taking.
Okay, well, we could add that in here, because in their profiles, we do ask for their academic stuff.
Yeah.
So in their profiles, we ask for their GPA and all that.
Maybe a list of the clearinghouse, like the courses you need to take. Because I remember I didn't know that when I was at Agent Corps before I even transferred. I had no clue you had to take whatever the clearinghouse criteria was. So there's a list, like a checklist you could put up or create, and just have them check it off with completed a course or whatever. That would, and then at the end it says green check mark or something, clearinghouse cleared or something like that. I think that'd be a good idea too.
Yeah, and that's why when we chop it up at the table, like, these are the kind of things where I'm telling you to do right by kids with this.
Yeah.
We need more than just me, because it's just like, that's a whole, you brought it, just the academic piece of it to support this is like a whole other division.
Yeah.
That would need to be managed, and then you add the all the other parts of it. It's not something that's meant to be one man just got it all figured out. So I'll just stop right there. What I'll do is Naron, make sure I got you on WhatsApp. I'll send you guys the
okay.
I'll sign you up on the school. I can actually do that right now. I'll sign you up on the school, and the feedback from the school has been really good. I've got a lot of feedback, good feedback. Like I said, there's about 60. I have like 60 students, 60 people. They call them students in here, but I have 60 people who have taken this and give me some feedback on it. Parents, different people. So I can go ahead and I'll go ahead and I'll put you guys in.
Thank you.
And then I'll send you with with the I Am an Elite one. You can actually just take that website, because you can create a free profile.
Okay.
What's your email, Ashton?
asmith30 at iCloud.com.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no password.
Okay.
Oddly, I got your stuff
Okay.
already. Is Naron? What's your last name?
Hemmings, H-E-M-M. Hemmings, Hemmings.
Email.
My first name dot last name at gmail.com.
And
Ash, you're talking about with underrated basically camp.
Yeah.
Is it for just high school or all ages?
Whatever, man. It's just an idea. We haven't really specified it yet, but we were thinking more high school, but could be because I don't know how.
We had like two ages, like the 7-8 age range, because the ones going into high school, because we kind of wanted to like get them on some kind of a radar, because they're getting into high school, and then the high school 1-2, I guess 9 and 10, because by the time grade 11 hits, it's kind of rough.
Yeah. Because I'm asking because ever since like COVID-19 went into like phase 2, and even before that, I've been noticing a lot of high school kids, even guys that are like fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
I'm like watching them play, and they're playing, and I go to them and I say, "Where are you playing?" And they say, "Nowhere." And they're guys that shouldn't be playing nowhere.
Right.
So.
Yeah, man.
Well, the thing I've been saying to a lot of guys that, because even like there's places in America like there's no JUCOs. JUCO canceled their season in the state of Arizona and some other states. So that means if you're a senior and you're supposed to go to JUCO, you got nowhere to go. And I've been telling people that right now an online profile is mandatory for every kid. Like, because when you really think about it, a good online platform profile right now for kids who, one, are going to have no summer ball, for recruiting, and then who knows what restrictions are going to be like. Coaches are not going to be traveling so freely across the U.S. from U.S. to Canada not for a long time.
For real.
Nobody, because even me, I'm from Canada, but nobody wants me up there. I got my own family saying, But I'm in one of the worst states. So when you think about it, one thing is an online profile is going to become really, really important, and a good one that you can use to market themselves. So that's one thing I'll say about this. And then the other thing is going to be, in our backyard. I really believe, and I'll share this with you guys once we move forward. I really believe that controlling leagues is going to be very, very important, because competition now is going to be, you can't take competition is already dying in high school basketball. And there's a lot of guys that were doing their sort of rogue prep programs and just bringing kids to the States all the time. They're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So where are you going to take your kids? I know guys who had prep programs who were independent just like us, and we just said, okay, well, we're not doing OSBA or MPH, so we're just going to go do our own independent schedule across the border.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. There's no doing that for any time soon. And so and there's only but a few top leagues, and there's more prep programs every year. So where's everybody going to play?
Exactly.
So and then when you add this platform to the league, now you got a place that that becomes a great alternative. And the other thing too with the leagues that with the new structure of schools and stuff like that is now making the leagues so that individual kids can sign up, and then you place them on teams. For the
okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because coaches may not be able to come to an event because like before, because it would be considered non-scholastic if the kids are coming from other schools. But if they can't come anyways, and you're putting in the games on video and using this platform, then now it doesn't even matter anymore. Yeah. It only applies for events. So now giving individual kids an opportunity. So like, so let's say, we got we can only get 3 or 4 teams. But then, you open up the individual spots and you put kids on teams.
Right.
And then, and just and do it like that. So I think the leagues will become very important, because then the leagues can also feed into your showcases, because now you can do your Christmas showcase.
Yeah.
Now you can do your preseason showcase. You can still do all your showcases, and you got a whole league to pull from.
Yeah.
Right. So we got the gym booked at All In for the league, and that's something that I'd like to work with you guys on that one.
So that's a high school league that you're trying to do.
It would be a prep. It would be a prep league, but then you have like an open. Either you can have an open division or open teams, where kids can actually sign up, and then you just put them on teams.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my idea. I think you could fill teams no problem, but I think that there's going to be a demand for kids who are at schools that are not going to be running basketball programs, or not going to be able to do it because of all the COVID stuff and online schooling. So now you are going to see a situation where a kid could be registered at a school and play someplace else, because or they're playing someplace else and registered at a school and they don't even have to show up. So so I think we got to be ahead. I had a
couple kids mention me about switching prep schools and stuff like that, but already like before school started, because they don't even know what's going on in September. So they're trying to change schools to see where they can fit in quickly. So that, I didn't even think about it, how you're putting it out. That would make sense.
Yeah,
I have a ton of kids.
Yeah, you got a ton of kids who can't play or don't have a place to play. And the thing about Bond is, as a private school, is we can bring kids in there. I mean, but it costs us money. Yeah. But you could also do things where kids are just non-scholastic, so we could run teams that are non-scholastic. Yeah. And so a non-scholastic team now is kids that don't attend the school, but they're on our program, in our program.
So technically, there's a kid at their own school that he coaches. He's good, but obviously TDSB league is not it's not up to par. He'd be able to now come and play for one of these teams in that prep league, but still be going to school. Like
and then you just put him on a generic team.
Right. Okay.
So you see what I'm saying, and like we'll talk some more about it, but because you have scholastic programs and non-scholastic programs. So your scholastic programs, every single all the kids are attending the school that that they're enrolled in, they're registered. All the kids on the team are attending the school that they're enrolled in. A non-scholastic team is the kids go to whatever school, but they play for that team in the season. Where the NCAA is concerned is the NCAA, doesn't allow their coaches to recruit on site for non-scholastic programs.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter if they're playing each other. Yeah. So if a non-scholastic program is playing a scholastic program, then a coach can be in the gym. But if it's two non-scholastic teams playing each other, then they can't be there. So that's why I'm saying, when you're running the league, if you got a non-scholastic teams in with scholastic teams, it doesn't matter. Coaches can still show up. But because of COVID, we're not going to have coaches in the gym anytime soon anyway. So it doesn't matter. And then where the prep program is concerned, we could still run non-scholastic teams underneath the BP1 name, because it's not Bond.
Yeah.
Bond they're not playing for Bond, they're playing for BP1. BP1 is a separate entity from Bond. So we could have a non-scholastic team and we could have a scholastic team that's where the kids are enrolled in Bond. So again, and I'm leaving that with you guys, and so we don't get into it too much, because these are stuff that I'm learning and understanding from a distance. Okay. And and if what I'm learning is right, there's a huge opportunity in front of us. Huge opportunity in front of us, because the landscape is changing. And I don't think I'm far off in what I've learned. And if you guys can confirm some of that stuff, confirm what that would be even better.
Yeah, no, I think.
Yeah. Nah, from what you're saying.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nero.
Sorry, go Ash. My bad.
Go ahead.
No, like academic wise, yeah, for sure. I don't think we're gonna be in school because working in the board, they're saying quadmesters,
Yeah,
shortening school days. So I don't even see basketball happening in the public board at all. But then, like you said, you have those programs that are public school programs that are prep programs in the public school. They're gonna need somewhere to play, and like you said, there's more coming every day. Um, just this platform alone, there's so many kids that they want to play, they don't know where to play, they just want to be evaluated. So, like for example, I don't know, like whatever. Let's say the OBA is looking for coach are looking for players. They can come on here and just look for a kid in their age group that doesn't even have
Yeah,
a team, but I don't know. He put a profile out, just kind of looking to find somewhere to go.
exactly. I think we're honestly we're on the same page. Like it sounds like this should be easy to find people, but it's hard finding brothers that want to work together. One, it really is. It's not easy at all. And two, everybody's busy. It's hard finding people. Like I've been apologizing for keeping you guys on this call for so long because most people are not going to give you more than 10, 15 minutes if you can get even that. But but in order for us to make some of this stuff a reality, we got to commit to. We got to commit to like Ashton. I was going to try and pay him to come on this call. You got to think about it. Am I lying? Am I lying? I was like,
I told him like I'm not. I don't want. I'm interested.
I was like, man, if like I will pay you just to come on this call and listen to what I got to say. Like, so what does that tell you about? Like you can be sitting on a good thing, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't find people who
Yeah.
are who can see the vision and are willing to commit. It doesn't change anything. I think I showed this to. I think it was about over 2 months ago. I showed the first people this platform. Over 2 months ago, and it still really hasn't moved. Like it hasn't. Nothing's really happened in terms of like people coming on board and saying, yeah, let's make something happen. So
I think you can make stuff shake with this, man. I think this has everything. Yeah, pretty much everything that I could think of to make something happen with this.
Yeah, even the back end part that you're talking about, like just going into a gym. Like last year, I was coaching a game and I seen this kid who was in grade 9, 6'6", and I'm like, who the hell is this kid? But then I could go find out about him, just throw him on there, and then figure it out later, and then get
yeah,
that information. Like you said, you can still evaluate these people without that part about it. I like as well. Just you're gonna see a kid walking on the street, and how old are you? Like, and then just get the information and figure it out later.
yeah. Well, hey, Ott, what about the group of the kids that you're working with? Do you think this is something that would be a fit that would work for them?
Yeah, definitely. Just from when you started talking about how you could evaluate the players and it's open, free registration. Definitely all the players that I run into, even the ones that I'm training, they need this. It's not that that I think they need it. They really do need it. And I was actually, like you said, a few months ago thinking about like how can I help them, and right now you're giving me a solution at this moment. So kind of crazy that this
Okay.
is actually in front of me right now. So I'm
Well,
definitely on.
okay.
Yeah, and even for me, like my coach hits me up all the time, asking me. He's trying to get more Canadians to come down, and like we haven't had a Canadian since me at my school, and then all the schools in my conference that I played against that I've torched for 4 years. Any kids. So that this is just something I can here's the link, check them out, or even like a fee-based thing for coaches in the States or whatever. They want access to this information. They, I don't know, pay a monthly fee, or I don't know, one-time fee. They could come on here and see
Yeah.
and pick.
Yeah. That's actually on here, and so that's part of the that would be part of the agreement as far as you know what we negotiate. So it's already set up, ready to receive payments from coaches. And I'm going to show it to you right now. So in the back end, when we went into the back end, you said it's a scout list right here.
Yeah.
So there's two ways. Now, if you're a scout, I'm going to just log out real quick. So there's a scout view. So if I'm a scout where it says sign up, so I can, and again, you can create a free account. So I can sign up as a scout or an agent right here. And then once I'm in as a scout or as an agent, so this is a scout view right here.
Yeah.
So this would be their profile, but they come in and they see the players. The only thing is with scouts, if you notice, anybody with a blue check is what shows up first. The scouts can only see, and for free, they can only see 20. I think the top 20, top 20 blue checks.
Okay.
That's it. But they can sort. I didn't show you how you sort. So, but if they want to see every point guard,
Yeah.
if you see that in the 70th percentile, 60th, 70th percentile, that's in grade 11 to 12.
Oh man, yeah.
Or in college, so they can sort it, and that's what I'm telling you about. The analytics is so important. And then what we're building in on the profiles is underneath here. It'll be a strength and weakness, and the way the algorithms work is like, so let's say a coach wants to see every kid that's labeled tough.
Yeah.
Click on tough, and every kid that's labeled tough would show up. And so you see what I'm saying? Like, these are the kind of things that we can do with on the analytics side of it. We can take the analytics side of it to a whole nother level because we're players and we understand how coaches think.
Exactly.
Like, what are they looking for? So their fees are here. So that a 2-month package is $99, 6 months is $199, and 1 year, a 1 year package is that, because a 1 year package is for $399. That gives them access for a whole year, and then that's all that is money that we chop up and we negotiate what percentage. And if you want to know if a coach that you are talking to signed up, you just go to the scout list and you'll see the list.
Yeah.
It'll show you anybody who signed up, and it'll show you if they paid, like, this person's a 6-month contract, bronze 2 months. And then we can also put coaches on free if we want to. Like, so there's a lot of things we can do in the back end of it. Like, we can create, free, like free if we want a coach to be able to have a free month, free 2 months, just so they can see that it's real.
Right.
We can do that as well too. So, yeah, so that's it. It's got a lot of capabilities. I think it can be a lot of fun.
When you said
Say it again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
when you said like they see the top 20, is it per position or just the top 20?
Just top 20, and because giving away the top 20 is nothing. So right now, like, yeah, it's not based on position or anything. They just get to see the free, but they can see everybody else for free. Like anybody else who's not been evaluated. So when they come on here, right? And the reason why I did it like that, and I can change it because the accounts that are not evaluated, you don't even know if their information is right.
Right.
Like, you don't know anybody who has a blue check, that means we verified their information. Their, who they are, all that kind of stuff. We'll provide their, coaches' contacts, all that kind of stuff. Anybody else who hasn't been evaluated, all they can really do is this is what they're going to see. They're going to see their basic information. They're going to see whatever videos that they have up there. some basic height, weight. I mean, they can track them down by their school if they want and city. They'll see their video catalog, but that's it. They're not going to see anything else. But with a paid subscription, we'll provide all their contact information. We'll provide an evaluation. With NCAA coaches, you know, you notice there's a separate sign up for NCAA coaches, and that's because NCAA coaches cannot access platforms that don't have analytics, and so NCAA coaches have to buy it right away. Other scouts can access it for free right away, but NCAA coaches got to pay right away to sign up. That's the difference between a scout account and an NCAA coach account.
Okay.
So which is good for us. That means, you know, an NCAA coach, they got to pay right away.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not allowed.
You know, the budget, man. They got it.
Yeah, they got the budget. The other scouts. So just to clarify, so all other scouts. So like if I'm a prep school coach trying to find players, if I'm a high school coach trying to find players, if I'm an AU coach or as a scout, a European scout, and we can change the pricing model on things later on, because when you think about it, if a pro and an agent want to use this, they should be paying more than a high school kid. But I mean, but these are things that we can get to, you know, with time. All right, fellas, I think I probably overwhelmed you guys. I'm going to send you. You're going to get more than one agreement, because I'm going to send you the draft. There's a couple different types of agreements that was created. One is more of a partnership agreement. One is this is a consulting agreement where it's just the percentages of things if we do an event together, what percentage, you know, each person gets, if a kid signs up, what percentage, all that kind of stuff. So that would be like a basic consultant agreement. And then the other one would be more of a partnership type of agreement. And then anything else doesn't matter, because if you just wanted to use it, just to use it, it's not really a big deal. And then the other one is a confidentiality agreement.
Okay.
And then, so the confidentiality agreement is something that is standard for everybody, like an NDO, non-disclosure, non-compete, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But whatever you see, like, I'm sending it to you for negotiation. So, like, a lot of times we see contracts and agreements, and if you're not used to that, you start thinking that, okay, this person's trying to burn me, like, no, this is, this is not a contract that's set in stone. This is me saying, okay, here's what I think is fair. And if you see something that's missing, just let me know. And then once we have it on paper, then let's just chop it up and let's figure out what our next move is.
All right. Can you get a copy of the recording too? I want to take some notes.
Yeah, you're about to get, that's a whole hour and a half. We're at an hour and 38, bro.
Hey man, good compliment.
Okay, I'll send you the link as soon as we hang up.
All right.
Or if I'm not sure how that works, but I'll get you the link.
Okay.
All right. And any last questions before I let y'all go?
I was going to say that I was going to ask if you could also send me the link also.
Yeah.
I could also do the same thing.
Okay. So. I'll send it out. Okay, but don't put it public, because, like I said, anytime I said NPH, and like anytime I drop other people's names or organizations, and I don't want it to be public, because I hate seeming like I'm trying to target people, or that I'm not, I'm not trying to go at anybody's head. I'm just trying to build a better ship, build the best boat I can build. That's all.
For sure. I just want to organize the thoughts.
Yeah. Take your time. Like I said, this has been 2.5 months, and it hasn't moved yet. So
appreciate the opportunity.
Real, definitely appreciate it, Doc. Appreciate it. It's an opportunity, man.
Well, thank you for reaching out to me, man. Like I said, it's been tough finding people that that will give me this much time just to listen to an old head ideas. So appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, fellas. All right. I'll see you later.
All right, later, everyone.
All right, later, Art.
All right, no, brother. Nice meeting you.